Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to talk about what's happening in the garden right now. And I am so thrilled to have Claire here from Growing Plotty. It's been a minute since we've been able to chat. So we've been kind of catching up a little bit here.
Yeah, we've
And
done it all. And that's
we're
it. Bye, everybody.
trying not to talk about too much. Keep it fresh. But so nice to see so many of you here in the house. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Robin, hello. And from Robin's Gardens, and Mel and Leanne and Rob and okay, Andrew, hello. Jace, always good to see you. Share. Wow, nice. Jersey Dave, you come from a different Jersey than I'm used to talking about, so I have figured that one out. So I know you're over in the UK, not from our New Jersey. But I think we have a restaurant here, like a fast food place called Jersey Dave's or Jersey Mike's, sorry. And it comes from New Jersey. Anyway, Anna's here and Leanne and Dusty Flats and Bumblebee Adventure. Wonderful. So, Claire, what have you been up to?
Oh, what? Mine's gone blank. Not a lot.
Okay.
No, I have. I've been doing lots. Allotment wise, though, I've only just got back to it really. Been keeping going up, checking on the greenhouse because we've had awful weather, loads and loads of wind.
Yes.
And my greenhouse has shifted a little bit on its base, I must admit. But anyway, I know how to sort it out. I've figured it out, so I can hopefully push it back and not break any of the glass.
Okay.
It's all well, most of it's been weeded, ready, beds cleared, all that sort of thing. A few bits of seeds sown, not as many as I normally do, I must admit. Yeah, because I'm not doing as many things this year. I'm cutting back a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of getting ready to go.
Yeah.
Greenhouse cleared out. Yeah, it needs a bit of a clean, but everything's out of there from last year because I was really late in doing that. All the old compost chucked on the brassica beds as well.
Look at
Yeah,
you.
so
Wow.
feeling a bit more ready to go now.
Yeah, I think you're ahead of
Yeah.
me with
Oh
all that done.
no,
Yeah,
there's
no,
no way.
I purposely left kind of the end of the year, everything just the way it was, because I thought, let the insects have a little place to stay over the winter, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just
Yeah.
cleaning out a bed at a time as
The
I'm,
brassica stems are great.
yeah,
I chopped some down and left them just chucked on the path because they're a
yeah.
bit big to break up. I would normally get my hammer out and batter them up. But anyway, the middle had rotted out of them and they were like a little tube and there were loads of wood lice up in the middle of those. So it's
Oh,
right into it. You get to a point where you think I'd best leave it because there's critters hiding.
yeah, they're hiding
Mm,
everywhere. So, yeah, so I only have two beds that are cleaned out so far because they're the only
mm,
ones that I have risked planting. So, but I got all my broccoli out and
mm.
part of my onions. So we're kind of moving a little here. We're having a nice, somewhat mild spring, which is very unusual for
Mm,
us. As I
yeah,
say that though, the other day it was 27 Celsius, just out of the blue, and I thought this is not a mild spring, but
that's
that's
crazy.
yeah. So let's see
Mhm.
what is everybody else doing right now. It is definitely go time right now, don't you think? Like it's time
Yeah,
to,
crazy
yeah,
time.
yes,
Yeah.
I almost think this is busier than March. March is usually a pretty, or
Mm.
maybe it's just a seeding month. That's a really
March is
big
a bit
seeding.
risky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the weather's been not so good here. It's been rain, rain, rain. Today it hailed. It's lovely and sunny now, but it hailed, and on Monday, oh no, yesterday it had a bit of a mini thunderstorm, and I
Okay.
think it hailed. I wasn't out in it. I missed it, but then Monday was like we had everything: sleet and high winds and crazy rain, and then sun, and oh, it was terrible. It threw everything
Yeah.
at us, and I put me
I
actually, I remembered I put my broad beans out on, Sunday, and I was just thinking, "They're gonna be mush, aren't they?" Anyway, I've seen them
yeah.
this morning and nipped up, and they're not too bad, but my broad beans are really poor this year. They're really leggy 'cause I grew them here. I didn't grow them in the greenhouse and treat them lean
Okay.
and, keep them cold. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Now
anyway.
can you, plant those deeper when you plant them or
Well, do you know, I'm not too sure, but looking at what they were like, the stems were so weak because they were quite leggy. I wouldn't have dared because I think I'd have crushed
okay,
the stems. Yeah, so I planted them pretty normal. They might have only gone about half an inch deeper.
okay,
I'm not aware that they grow from the stem like a tomato does. So no,
right.
I staked them all
Yeah.
individually. Yeah, yeah, they look terrible. I was embarrassed. Well, like, shall I just throw them away
But
and not bother?
won't they, beef up a little bit once they're happy outside?
Yeah, they probably will, but I mean, they've had a rough start to the week.
Yeah.
But that's life, isn't it?
Ye
That's life and gardening. They've just got to take the chance with it at
and
some point.
and they have to, live in that real world just like we do. So sometimes
Yeah.
they just have to toughen up a little quicker. Now do
Yeah,
you
that's
stake
why it's
those?
like, gambling, isn't it, though? It's, like you could win big or you could lose big, and every year you win and miss some things, don't you?
Right. Now
Mm.
do you stake them a little bit when they're that leggy, or you just let them?
Yeah, I did every
Okay,
single one of them, staked them all.
okay.
Normally, if they go out and they're decent, like little stocky plants that have grown in the greenhouse slowly, I tend to put some sticks around and go kind of a bit back and forth with some string. And in fact,
Mhm.
last year I put some stakes in the corners and I had some like some galvanized mesh stuff, quite
Uh-huh.
big, like cattle stuff or whatever you call it,
Okay.
flexible stuff. And I bent that all the way around it and I just managed to make what I had stretch because I'd had a fox digging in the corner of the bed quite often that I put them in. And I thought, well, it might jump over. I think I mentioned it in one of the videos. Said, if he jumps over, he's going to flatten them all, but he didn't. He kept
Yeah.
out of it. And then that they all held each other up then. But I have done them with sticks at the end of the bed, and I've done long strings like a cat's cradle. You know
Uh-huh.
those things you used to make
Yeah.
string things, and it just went back and forth, and they all grew up through that. So I've done them in a few ways, really.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just hoping that as long as they don't all keel over and they do start growing again and face upwards, then I'll stake them better.
Okay. Well, sometimes it's just knowing what to do to it to help it
Mm.
recover. I mean, it's nice that a leggy tomato, like we were looking at earlier, can just be
Oh,
buried really deeply.
I was segueing onto my terrible sun golds that I
No,
showed you that's here.
it just brought it to mind.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, I have to tell everybody. I've done my winter sown ones that I did in November up in the greenhouse, and they're starting to come through now. I've not got so many, but they are showing. But I had some sun gold and a couple of others I needed to sow, so I did them and I put them in the boiler cupboard and I missed them, didn't I, for a day or so. And look, what the. I'm sorry, everybody. Look at that. So I hope that gives everybody a good laugh. And if anyone else has ended up with these, then me as well.
But look at the oppor you gotta look at that as an opportunity for lots of roots, right?
Yeah.
So that might that
There's
might be
that.
one of your best tomatoes by the end of the year,
Yeah.
'cause he'll
That'd
be
be good
so
if it
well
was.
rooted.
Then we
Yes.
might have learned something. We're going next year. We'll be going grow them leggy. It'd be all all popular people on social media. We're going grow them leggy. It's the new thing. We're like,
So that
we
you
thought of
can
that.
add another 5 inches of roots on the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I'm
If they
just
do, they do,
impressed.
and if they don't, never mind.
Yeah, I'm impressed though that you do your tomatoes winter sowing. I've never tried that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see because a lot of people are growing along, so we'll have to see
Yeah.
what they get as well. I know, Pauline, who's on the, Potty Mouth Discord, Little P, she sent me a picture of hers, and she's got, like, an eruption, like an explosion of them like I had last year, all this nice little group of seedlings,
Wow.
coming through really, really nice. So, yeah, I think some people are, they're having some good showings from it. I mean, I think mine are just a little bit behind. I'm hoping so anyway, because I did a couple of frozen tomatoes just to see if they
Mhm.
worked. I mean, I've no reason to believe they won't show like last year, but I think it were about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago last year they were showing pretty reasonable, but I did get 1 or 2. And I thought, "Oh, good." And then kept going back and it go, and there would be more and more and more of them. So I'm thinking they might start coming through en masse pretty
Yeah.
soon. And again, if they
Well,
don't, they don't, but they
yeah,
might. They
I
probably will.
opened up my winter sowing buckets last week, and I'm
Mm,
shooting about 75% had come up, and
yeah.
I just left them. We opened them, so there was the place in the middle was still kind of hinged, but the top was on. And
Mm.
I have almost 95% germination now.
That's good.
This is probably my best year with winter sowing. It is,
Brilliant.
yes,
Mm.
because I think part of it was I moved them when it started getting warmer during
Mm.
the day. So I moved them to the shade and they have done great. And
Mm.
so now I still have them in a little bit of shade, but the tops, like I cut the tops right off of
Yeah.
the jugs. So they're just kind of open to nature at this point.
Mm.
But they
Yeah, the
also
tomatoes are open. They're in the greenhouse, but they are
Mhm.
open in the tubs. And I went up this morning, I cracked the door about 8 inches because I thought it was going to be a bit warm, a bit sunny. Um, so it could drop quite cold. I mean, I think it was 6 degrees when I were up there this morning, centigrade or Celsius, whatever. And but they will tough it out. I mean, unless we get minus something, which I mean we might. Who knows? Anything could happen, but
Yeah,
they
I
probably.
did see Robin was saying she's in the 30s for the weekend this
Mm,
year at night. I think we have the lowest we have, I think, coming up is like 41. So I might just throw a little fleece on the open jugs because they're just on my deck. So
yeah.
just in case, sometimes they say 41 and oops, it dipped to, 34. We weren't expecting that. So I might just,
Mm,
throw something on. And it's so nice not to have all that because most of them are flowers and not to
yeah.
have them taking up so much room on the grow shelves. I mean,
Yeah, and
isn't that
getting
one of the
fungus
problems?
gnats and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, when you get into flowers, wow, you need a lot of them.
Mm,
It's not
yeah.
like a cabbage that's gonna grow into a square foot, uh, piece of vegetable.
Mm,
You wanna have a lot to put in so they make an impression.
yeah.
So, I'm loving putting those all in the winter sowing, and it's
Yeah.
kind of
It's worth
plant
a
it
try. I mean, what have you got to
plant it
lose
and
if you
forget it.
even if you find something, think, "Well, I've never seen anyone winter sow these, I'll try it." If they come through this time of year, you've saved a job and learnt something. So there's a lot you can do. I mean, it just goes to show tomatoes as well. There's a lot that you can do which they wouldn't have you believe you can.
Right, well, I think the woman that really kind of came up with it started everything in her garden that way,
Mm,
like squash, like
mm,
everything. I guess it was just how long it stayed in the jug, she probably just left them until the temperature got really warm. But,
yeah,
yeah, crazy. So,
mm,
I think I'll get a little more adventurous next year with
yeah.
mine.
Keep pushing it.
Yeah, keep pushing it a little. Maybe
Mm,
throw a few tomatoes in and let's see what happens.
yeah.
Uh, let's see, we've got a lot of people doing a lot of stuff here. Dusty flats, so peas, sweet peas, and brassicas, transplanted poppies. Uh, oh, here, I can put it up here. Will need to cover for several yes. Uh, that's the dance right now, right? You can try to get them out early, but you also have to be willing to take a little cover, or go out and fleece them if you need to. Uh, Jersey Dave put out leeks and onions at the weekend, but I put out some onion sets about 5 weeks ago, and they're looking good. Yeah, we planted. I did a full bed of broccoli, and I'm only growing sprouting broccoli this year. It's not purple sprouting, it's just everything is sprouting. And because I feel like why it's hard to get that gorgeous big green head of broccoli because you play the game. Do I let it get a little bigger or do I take it now? And then sometimes,
Boom.
oops, forgot it and half of it's blown a little bit.
Mm,
So I love the sprouts because you kind of cut up your broccoli anyway when you take it into the kitchen to use it. So I thought I'm just going to grow and if sprouting broccoli goes over a little bit, it's still really delicious. So it's not
mm,
like it's blown. It's just like, okay, it's got a little yellow on it. It's fine because it'll flower and still be tasty. But I planted onions down the sides of the bed. So I'm hoping that might confuse those little happy white butterflies that are already out here. I've seen them, but I have it for the first time. I have it like domed in one of those little tunnels to see if we can beat those little butterflies this year. That's my goal. Beat the butterflies.
And then it's just the squirrels to worry about. Don't mention them.
Yeah, well, the squirrels are just annoying in general, but they usually do more damage if I'm, like, growing something like corn, because they like to grow up it, knock it
Mm,
over, and then just leave it there to die. They don't even it's, like, at least if they ate it, I felt like I would be sharing it, but they
yeah.
don't, they just kill it because they're just horrible little creatures. Uh, yeah, they can't help. Well, I guess they could, but they're not oh, look at
You
all that.
don't do any perennial brassicas then? Would they? Do you think they
No,
might die off
I
when
am
it gets
trying I
cold?
think it was you and Mel sent me some is it Asturian cabbage?
Mel, I think, yeah, Mel would have sent those, I think.
Okay, well, I
Well, to be
do
fair,
have
if I sent you some, Mel would have sent it me, and I'd have sent you some from
okay,
Mel's. So either way,
okay,
you've got 2 lots of Mel's if you have.
okay, so I'm doing an Asturian cabbage and a 9-point broccoli, or is it 9-point cauliflower?
9 star broccoli.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
am, growing both of those this year. So I
Well,
want
I was I was talking to Kerry Kitchen Garden Grows, social media person, and I'd seen that she'd taken a harvest off her 9 star, and mine were a little bit behind, but I've had my first harvest off mine as well, and Mel sent me the seeds for those as well, so they grew all last year, and they've
okay,
flowered this year like a biennial almost. And I messaged Kerry, I think it was only last night, I think it was, and I said, what did you think of yours? Was it really bitter and, really strong? And she said, yeah, it's sort of the same as, I think the main head might be more so the central bit, and then you get your little sprouty bits.
uh-huh,
It's very strong, very brassica-y.
okay,
But yeah, with a
okay,
little bitterness. So if people don't like a bit of a broccoli taste, it's quite amped up, I must admit.
okay, so
But
it's
I
more
think
like
it's
a broccoli
beneficial.
rabe or something because they have those, the
Oh, I
greens
don't
around them
know.
that are quite bitter,
Well,
but I
maybe.
but I kind of enjoy
Yeah.
that. I enjoy
Yeah.
when
I'm okay with it. It was noticeable. I think there'll be a lot of people wouldn't like it if they can't even cope with cauliflower and, like, don't send it to JB,
I was
bless
gonna
him.
say I
He's
will
not
not send it.
he's not bothered, is he,
The
for
only
that?
time I send him broccoli is if it was covered in cheese, and I can't
Yeah.
send that from here for him, so
No.
so I think the big thing is gonna be whether I can overwinter it here, because we
Yeah.
have such a cold winter, and it's a long cold winter, but I
Mm,
wonder if I try to, mulch it heavily or put some fleece
mm.
over it, if I'm gonna try to play with it and see
Yeah.
what comes of it.
It might want so like almost a cage of that, like I said about that wire fencing putting or 4 bamboo canes and something,
Uh-huh,
because I think it wants airflow. Because I know back in the last year when I took the net off, when our little butterfly friends weren't around anymore, and I stripped some of the leaves off, and it were a bit pongy because 'cause it'd gone a little bit damp and funny on the inside of it, so I think they do want a bit of airflow flowing through them.
okay.
And then, yeah, they might be okay. They want to breathe a little bit, I think,
So I wonder
if
if
you
it
can
would even
protect
be
them.
worth, like, digging it up and potting it and putting it in my garage for the winter,
Yeah,
because that
I
gets
think,
some airflow, but it
yeah,
doesn't
you might have
quite
to
get
dig
as
it
cold.
quite deep.
Yeah,
Mm,
I don't
yeah,
know.
'cause they
I
like
just
their
kinda
roots
wanna
firm, don't they?
yeah, so,
Worth a
maybe I
try.
could just put burlap around it. You know how you
Yeah,
sometimes do that with trees or bushes that need to I
yeah,
wonder
just
because
'cause
that would
it's got that floppy, squishy leaf, and if
yeah,
it gets a bit damp, it goes mouldy and rots on the plant, and it's really pongy. So I think maybe if you put a cage round with some burlap around it, like you say, so
yeah,
it's insulated. Oh, excuse me. So it's
that's
insulated, but you've got but you've got a little bit of airflow through the middle of it that'll just buff it, keep the
right.
wind off a little bit. That might be better because
Yeah.
even just sat on its own with all its leaves on, with the net over the top of it, it will go in a bit strange.
Now does it produce, broccoli or is it cabbage, tree cabbage and broccoli? Is that what these are?
Well,
Do they
the
produce their
9
first
star.
year? Well, there's 9
Well,
star and this I think
yeah.
the Asturian is a tree cabbage.
Yes. Yeah, so it's very leafy, isn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you really just take the leaves, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay,
suppose it would flower. I don't know what you do if it flowers. Probably just take them off. I don't know whether they're a nice crop of their own, like kale is.
right.
But yeah, it's the leaves, isn't it, mostly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting. I've just never grown these before, so
I haven't grown the tree cabbage, I must say, but I mean, I'm not a massive cabbage fan though, particularly. I love broccoli. I mean, cauliflower's a pain, let's face it, isn't it? But I've got a broccoli called Stromboli, and it's an F1, and it just wanted to grow. It was just so happy. All of
yeah,
them, pew, pew, like perfect ones. And I just think, well, I don't know if it was just a rogue year, but or whether it's that variety's really good. And when you chop the top off, it really, really wanted to regrow like they meant to, but it did it just really predictably. It were
yeah.
brill. So yeah, I've
Well
seeded some of those, definitely.
well, I grew a baby cauliflower last year it was lovely because it came up quick, but it formed these
Mm,
little tiny heads, but I thought, "That's enough cauliflower for me. I don't know
yeah,
that I need a big, huge head of it."
single
So,
serve.
yeah, it was lovely. But I'm realizing I don't think I planted any of those this year or sowed any of them. So
Have to
maybe
make a
it
little
wasn't
note.
that good, I don't know. Uh, oh, Let's Grow this is Denise, right, from Let's Grow Home?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is she? She hasn't sown her tomatoes yet. Yeah,
Oh.
well, you have
Oh,
time.
no.
But you they
Yeah.
come up so quick. I just planted
Mm.
7 different ones, this week, and I'm sure they'll be up by nenext week.
I feel
So
better now about my leggy ones. Thank you,
oh,
everybody.
yeah, no, I wonder if that's gonna, because 'cause I've got these potatoes that are about 3 feet tall. I, I I found, like, 8 potatoes in my bin that had these really long eyes on them, and I
Mm,
thought, I'm just gonna throw them in some soil and see what happens." Well, now
yeah.
they're skinny, they're like a skinny tall thing, and they're about 3
Mm,
feet tall, so this week, I think we're gonna just plant them. I'm gonna cut the top off wherever it needs to be cut off and let them resprout out of the ground, see what
mm.
we get, but
You've reminded me that I've got a little bucket under in the pantry thing under the stairs, and it looks like an alien thing because it's the sprouting really badly. But I've
oh,
also
yeah.
got a big 30-litre bucket full of potatoes and parsnips. And I mean, I grew 5 types last year, and then I thought, diet, how about that? And then so I've hardly eaten any potatoes, and they're all just sat there. But things, they're a nightmare to get rid of and compost. You've got to chuck them all through food processor. And all slugs hiding in them. If you get a slug hiding in the middle, you food process them as well. Oh
So you
no.
have to do that so they just won't sprout in the compost?
Yeah, that's what I did with all my ropey ones that my caras that I grew, yeah, before last or whenever it was, when they were very, very holy, because the pests love them, and there were just slugs hiding in some of them, and some of them I did find when I was preparing, chopped them in half by accident, just chopping potatoes up. It's not pleasant, but yeah, it's
No.
it's the only way I can really, apart from take them down tip, which I'd rather compost them, is to kind of have to be like food processed through grating attachment. That's a big
Okay.
job. I could just move. I could just move house. That'd be better, actually. Yeah.
Or you could just put them in the garbage, couldn't you? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's not the best thing for a landfill, but it's less work, a little bit
What am I
less
doing?
work.
Why did I grow them 5 types?
So you still have, like, a bucket of parsnips that you haven't.
Yeah, when I did my speed weeding, I took up all the old leeks and all the old parsnips because they were regrowing. And we did a test
Oh,
chop. I gave some to my plot pal up there. Chopped one in half with the hori and it looked okay. So he took some. And yeah, I brought them the back down here in a bucket now, just sitting there. Oh,
I think there's a
I've
lot of
prayed to
people
God for me back.
who would be very envious of those parsnips.
Maybe, yeah. If
Well,
any
'cause
fans
you
want to buy any, I'll do you a good price. I'll autograph them.
have so can you mail them to Detroit? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just say, "Oh, it's a book. Don't worry, it's just a book that's shaped like a parsnip." Oh, it's not
Yeah.
we're not sending food across the pond.
No, that's naughty, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all on to get the seeds over, aren't we? And we try. Yeah.
Yes.
You have about 20 birthdays a year, don't you? With everyone sending you
I
birthday cards with seeds hiding in 'em.
well, and we sent a bunch of cards this year ourselves, so yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see what else is happening in here. Oh, uh, that makes me sad. Dusty Flat says they say 32 this week, which is 0 Celsius, but we are always about 5 degrees lower. Oh, that's sad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's so sad. Oh, hi, Pammy. Nice to see you. And I agree with Jace 100% on this. About peas, I grow Manchu, we call those snow peas over here, and I grow snap peas because
Mm,
no potting involved. And unfortunately,
yeah.
my husband loves freshly potted green peas. So I am sure to always go get some of those at the farmer's market, where they apparently don't mind having to pod them and then offer them for sale. So that's my
There's
solution for that too.
there's a saving grace though, isn't there, with podding them? Because, if you find the little pea moth caterpillar hiding out in there, whereas with the other ones you don't, you to get your little bit of protein, haven't you, here and there, and hope you don't taste it.
No, why did you tell me about this animal that I didn't know about? What is this?
Mm, the little pea moth caterpillar. Like
Mm,
everything, it lays its egg and it ends up with a tiny, tiny, very cute caterpillar inside the pod, and it's eating the peas and pupating and all the rest of it. So when you open the pod of peas, you find the frass, i.e., the caterpillar poop. And you're like, oh no, there's an interloper, and then you find it in there. But if you eat the whole pod, you take your chance, don't you? Not that you'd really know.
okay, so I have to somehow now forget that I know this information
Or net
because
them,
I
yeah, with
love
some
my
fine
snow
stuff.
peas and snap peas.
Yeah.
They're so
Mm.
good.
Yeah,
So
it's not gonna hurt you, but
I know, but the thought that it's in there now is
yeah.
I feel itchy.
There's something eating everything, isn't there, though, before we get to it, let's face it. I mean, this is another reason why I don't like cabbage. You break one
Oh,
open and you go, "This cabbage weighs 5 kilo, look what I've grown." You break it open, there's a kilo of slugs in it straight away. So,
see,
yeah.
I don't struggle with slugs. So I'm hoping it means
Oh,
I don't struggle with pea moths.
do you
I
get
didn't realize
worms in your caterpillars? Worms in your, cabbages? 'Cause the fielder kraut
only
I grew, they had worms they crawled up and got into them, and they were living in there as well.
just regular worms?
Yeah, or, like they were almost like a brandling type. They were a small one, but a reddish one, and they're all wiggling around as well, having a party.
Oh,
So,
all I know is when
yeah.
I harvest that, I soak it in salt water. So if there
Mm,
is something heinous in it, that usually will kill it and it falls to the bottom of the sink.
yeah.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, oh, okay. Mm, I'm
I've
sorry.
lowered the tone.
I know,
Sorry, everybody.
I feel itchy now. My whole body
Yeah.
feels itchy. But I guess real food does come dirty, and that includes bugs. So,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. Okay. Hi, Steven. Let's see, what else do we have going? Uh, Denise? No, this is Pammy. I've got everything sown now apart from my beans and sweet corn. Awesome. Now
Epic.
you obviously start your beans and sweet corn. Oh my gosh, there must be a caterpillar in my throat. Um, beans and sweet corn. So you obviously start those inside or in a greenhouse or something.
Well, she's got a massive polytunnel, which we're all
Okay.
jealous of. Maybe in there.
Oh, good night, Denise. Head back to work.
Bye.
Okay. We'll
Oh,
enjoy
Pam, have
that.
you sown squash then as well already? I mean, really, well, we're getting to that time, aren't we, really? I mean, back
I
end of
usually sow my
April.
squash just directly. I wait till it
Oh,
gets
right.
nice and hot and I just pop the seeds in.
Yeah.
But you were talking to Pammy, weren't you? Has she? Because that those kinda all go together.
Yeah, I was just
Um,
wondering whether she's done those as well.
Sometimes I start my melons inside because they take just a little longer to get going than squash just
Mm,
seems to run the
yeah.
minute it's going.
Mm,
Uh, oh, Robin, yeah. My arugula is it's starting to come up. So I'm hoping I might get one harvest from it. But yeah, they don't like that back and forth stuff. Actually, I think arugula and spinach are two of the fussiest little, nice leafy vegetables that you can grow. They have like this little teeny window of what is acceptable. And otherwise, they're just like, nope, boop, go to flower.
mm. Have you got
Uh,
rocket from last year, Audrey? Is that what you mean? Have you got some that's
oh,
coming through again from last
oh
year?
no, I've already seeded it.
All right,
I,
I've got some that's overwintered and is coming
yeah,
back, but it might just
I,
flower.
yeah, I don't know. I sometimes get
Mm,
kale that will come back. It
yeah,
kind of read, but then it goes to seed almost immediately.
yeah. I've got
So,
chard that's self-sown everywhere, but I think that's just gonna. It's just gonna because it's in its second year. It's gonna as soon as it warms up a bit, maybe in a month, it's gonna probably start taking off.
but I understand if you cut chard all the way down and let it regrow, it just kind of regrows totally.
Yeah,
I've
when it
never
starts
tried.
trying to flower, if you keep cutting it down, it wants to make a skinny stem. And
Okay.
it keeps wanting to flower and flower because I let it set seed a couple of years ago and I collected tubs and tubs and tubs of seed, and that's why it's everywhere. And in fact, in the greenhouse, the stuff I've just chucked away, and in some of the I say overwintering, I don't know if any of them are alive, but the chilies that are in the garage downstairs, some of those have got tiny little baby chard plants in them because I must have somehow some of it's got into the compost that I've used. But all in the tomato pots, there were loads of chard, just nice little plants, and I've just chucked them on the brassica bed. I was like, I can't be bothered with it. I've just, yeah, chucked it out.
Now, do the white cabbage butterflies, they don't go on chard like they do.
Do you know, I don't think they
I
do.
don't think they
I
do it because
mean,
I'm trying to
why?
think. I've never hooped that, and I don't have as much trouble with that
Yeah,
as I do
yeah,
with
that's a
brassica
good
leaves.
point.
Huh.
Yeah, I think we're missing a trick there. Surely it's the same. Maybe it's because it's not so stinky, and they like the stinky.
And I'm
So they
trying
must,
to think, chard may not be chard's part of the beet family,
yeah,
and
actually,
beets
yeah.
are
Well, yeah,
brassica,
they're
are they?
brassicas. Yeah,
Are they?
yeah.
Well, then
Yeah,
chard would
they
be
are,
part of the
aren't they,
brassica
people?
family.
I think, yeah, beetroot are brassicas, aren't they? People, please. I'm sure I'm right. But like, because I've got a tub that's heading brassicas and a tub that's root. But I'm sure I have root brassicas. I'm confused now.
I am too, and there's
What
some of
people
those that I
saying?
I real literally have to always look it up going, "Is it or isn't it?"
Mm,
Uh,
yeah, I'm definitely doing a lot of beetroot though. I've sown I think 120. Like, 'cause I multi-sowed them, so I
okay.
want plenty of beetroot this year though. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the
Chard
thing
and
that
beets,
throws me
yeah,
with chard
useful.
chard and beets is, uh, their seeds are so different than most
Yeah, they are,
brassica
yeah, they
seeds.
are.
I mean, they're totally
Yeah,
different, but
that's a point.
I'm not sure that
Mm,
means anything. Um,
mm.
let's see if anybody's answering whether that's a bee whether beets are brassicas or not.
You'd think we'd know. It's a bit bad,
I
isn't it?
know,
But
I'm thinking, "Why can't I it assuredly go, 'Yes, they are. No, they're not.'" I'm trying to
yeah.
think where my seeds are kept because I keep them by family like that. So,
Mm.
extra protein, okay. No, I'm gonna the pea moth is now gonna be in my dreams. Uh,
They're so cute.
oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure they're adorable, but,
yeah.
yeah. Oh gosh, I have missed all of this. Um, Holy Moses. Okay, beets and chard are not brassicas. Thank you, Robin.
They're just masquerading as brassicas,
I
kind of,
no, I
aren't
think
they, a bit?
what is there's a family name for those, because I grow
Um,
beets.
yeah.
I grow, bull's blood beet, in my salad bed just for the leaves because they're so dark and gorgeous, and I never have caterpillars on those.
Mm,
So that should have been
yeah,
enough to remind me.
yeah, yeah. I think everyone agrees that they're not.
Yeah.
Mm. There you go. They
Okay.
fooled us, didn't they, for a moment there?
Yes.
Amaranth family. Really? Really? Huh. I'm Googling this so much later. That's me evening sorted, that, going down a rabbit
Well,
hole
and
of
I learned a lot
Googling.
about uh, fungus gnats on my last live, and I still have not
Mm,
Googled that, but I really want to know. Oh, sorry, that was a private question. I'm sorry, but I really want to learn about them. I think, from what I understand, they're there to eat fungus, but the point was, how do they get there? Because it was no, they don't come from the soil. I'm like, well, where do they come from then?
chicken and egg situation. Yeah.
So I have to do a little bit more of a deep dive into that.
Well, I Googled them once because we have a little bit of a problem with them at work, and I've got a sticky thing on the window. And it's like, well, I know I chuck a banana skin in the bin every now and again, but it's like, how are they? What? It's not like the bins never get emptied and they're really full. But I read that all that a fungus gnat needs is a little bit of moisture with something a bit disgusting on it. So like they can reproduce down the drain or on like a mucky washing up sponge or something like that, because they only want a bit of bacteria, almost a bit of growth and a bit of moisture to create the little maggots and all that
This has
sort of
been
thing.
a
Mm,
lovely conversation, Claire.
nature. I didn't make it. But
No,
I read about
I
that. I thought, well, yeah,
know.
they could be living
'Cause I
anywhere,
think you
really,
can see
couldn't
my
they?
yellow sticky sheets are up on my
Oh,
grow shelf.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because what a way to die, though. I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, you get all four legs stuck to this thing that you can't get off of, and you just starve to
Mm,
death right there. So I thought, well, that's
yeah.
another happy gardening
Yeah,
thought.
my little sticky thing this week has caught a little spider. Well, littleish. And it looks like it did the splits as it landed on it. And I'm thinking, if it's died in stretched out, like that, I
Yeah.
thought that's not nice. That's uncomfy. That poor thing. I couldn't try and take it off. I'd have just ripped it to bits, wouldn't I? So
Okay.
yeah, R.I.P.
Okay. So, is there anything, I know there's certain things you're not growing this year. Claire, is there
Yeah,
anything, so what are you not growing? Maybe that's a better thing to
sweet
ask.
corn. Yeah, I would if I could, but I can't eat it because I've got my Invisalign brace now. So my teeth are moving like tectonic plates. They're getting reshuffled, and my bite's all
Okay.
really weird. So I can't bite into stuff. I need squishy stuff. So I'm not bothering with that. I'm not doing as many squash because I've had loads. I mean, I can't. It's a nice problem to have, really, isn't it? But I've had loads of squash and it's been brilliant. But I've been
Yeah.
having to throw them away every now and again. I've still got some left, so I'm going to minimise that. I think I'm only going to do Crown Prince and the Burgess Buttercup. But the
Mhm.
Burgess Buttercup for me hasn't kept well at all, but the Crown Prince does. So I'll do those. Bit less
Crown Prince
space
are
taken up with those.
they're so delicious.
Yeah,
They are
I
so good.
think the Burgess Buttercup's better. It's got a
Oh,
really nice. It's like chestnutty, and the Crown
okay.
Prince is more sweet and less chestnutty, and it's just
Okay.
got a really rounded flavour. And it's like a pasty texture, quite like creamy and
Okay.
smooth.
And this is
And
the Burgess Buttercup?
Burgess Buttercup. Yeah, they're
Okay.
only like about like that. They're a
Okay.
really nice, manageable size. And you can sometimes you can't eat the skin, sometimes you can. It depends if it's a bit solid once you've roasted it. But I normally try and eat the skin anyway because it's good for you, isn't it? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll grow those too. I don't think I'll do any more courgettes. I'm doing. Um, what
Now, I
else have I?
how many
Oh, leeks.
courgette
I'm not doing
plants
leeks.
how many courgette plants do you plant?
I'll probably do 2. I'll probably
Okay.
do it. Well, I need to check what I've got. If I've got yellow ones still, I'll do a yellow and a green, but I'm not sure if I've got yellow seeds, so I might just do 2 green 'cause
Okay.
it don't really matter that much. But I haven't bought a courgette in about 4 years, I think, so just have them in season.
No.
But I've still got my big marrow thingy. My big courgette downstairs is on the kitchen table and it's fine. So
Now what do
like
you
a
do with
zombie.
that? I've seen these things called, what did you just call it? I'm sorry.
Courgette.
Marrows.
Marrow. It's
Are
not,
you
yeah, it's
cooking
a courgette technically, but it just got big and then it hardened its skin up a little bit. I mean, I've had them do that before and kept until Christmas, but it's still sat there. And every
So
now and
what do
again, I
you
just
do
roll
with
it
that?
over.
What do you
Well,
do with that?
I just tell it well done every week. I go well done. You're still with me, and trip over it. I
But
don't know.
what
And
do
then
you
throw it away.
but how do you cook it? I mean, how do you cook
Done.
it?
Well, I won't. I probably will. I probably won't. I mean, I did wonder about making some
Okay.
wine, and somebody said the parsnips that I've got now that I don't really want to do anything with. They said, "Oh, make some wine," which is a great idea. But it's not something I think I'm gonna get over the line. I've got all the gear. I might be missing 1 or 2 chemicals, but I've got all the gear to make wine, and I've done it before from all sorts of stuff. But
Okay.
it's just another thing. It's just one more thing I just don't have time for. If I'm struggling to sow me flower seeds now, then I don't think I'm making wine anytime
Right.
soon.
Right.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the meantime, courgette has been on my kitchen table, and I roll it over every now and again, check its underbelly is okay. And I'm not it's
So
not in a puddle.
he's a decoration at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I could have used it, but it's just been sat there. I've just been posing with it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, no leaks. I'm not doing leaks. Not bothering with them.
here's Locke, who was the gentleman that,
Oh.
uh, brought this up in the last one. The life cycle starts in the soil, they lay their
Mm,
eggs in the soil, and it's the larvae that do the damage. If 2 out of
mm.
balance, so control the water and you control the gnats. Okay. So there is value. I have seen some people put boiling water in their potting soil, and they don't add regular water to dampen it. They put boiling water in because 'cause they're trying, I think, to stop the whole gnat cycle. Like, kill
Yeah.
the eggs, and
Mm.
perhaps it'll do better.
Yeah,
So,
'cause
thank
a
you
lot of
for
the
that, Locke.
compost a lot of it comes in with it in already.
Oh, yeah.
I had that. Yeah, I were doing something a couple of years ago, well, here in at my desk,
Yeah.
and, there were flies literally when you looked at it, you're like, "This is squirming," and there were
Yeah.
flies coming out of it and flying off, and I'm like, "What?" And yeah, really bad with that, and you can't do that much about that, if it's come in with it, but you only really want 1 or 2 and then they're taking over, aren't they? But, yeah, I suppose water from underneath, and if the top stays a bit dry, it's
Yeah.
not as nice for them. Yeah, and then they'll go down your drain instead, won't they, like I
And
said?
breed down my
Maybe you
drain
don't know.
and a nasty sponge that I forgot we had.
Yeah. Or on your sticky paper.
Oh, my sticky paper, yes. Someone
Yeah.
said to put that outside. I always have, flea beetles. Those are the little teeny ones that eat, like they make the leaves look like lace, don't they? Isn't
The
that a flea
cute.
beetle? They're
Yeah, the
cute.
little shiny
Yeah,
brown tiny
and someone
thing.
said put
Yeah.
a sticky sheet out by your, it's my eggplants that always get it. But
Mm.
then someone else in the comments said, "But won't the good bugs get stuck to it too?" And I thought, "Well, yeah." So, I'm gonna have to try to be a little more proactive flea beetle wise, because I am growing, eggplant today. So,
Yeah.
uh, okay.
I haven't sown any aubergine, any chilies, any sweet peppers.
My chilies are so little, you would do nothing but laugh. They have not thrived, although I'm gonna
Show you that again, make you feel better.
okay, they're bigger than that. Okay. They're small and stocky, and Rob, yes, that is a good idea. I do put vermiculite on top of
Mm.
every seed I start. It just helps me also see the water how the water is doing, like, right from just looking at my tray. I can tell what it looks like. Uh, okay, let's see. So, anyway, we were talking about what you're not growing. I'm sorry, we got
Mm.
totally sidetracked there.
Yeah, I'm
Uh
not doing leeks.
Okay.
Not bothering with them. 'Cause they're okay, but I don't really use that many. I'd be better with onions. I've got 3 types of onions that I sowed on the 4th of January, and
Okay.
one lot, winter density, real seeds. I winter sowed them and put them outside, and they've come through fine. So, yeah, you can winter sow your onions as well. So I've got, yeah, those I need to put out. What else? There is something parsnips, not doing
Oh,
them.
and you were like the queen of big parsnips.
It's time for me to hand the baton to somebody else. Yeah, I eat them at Christmas, so I might want one to
Oh, so
myself.
you're not a lover of parsnips.
Not really, no. I mean, I
Oh,
made some soup, with I think one of the squash as well, and it wasn't really nice. I didn't well, could have just been me, but I'm alright at cooking, and I didn't like it. And I still got, ones from the year before in the freezer, a big bag full as well, so I don't need them. But I am going to I'm going to try okra again because I tried last year and the squash swamped it all out. And that don't want to be done early at all. It really likes it really
oh, it likes
warm, and you can
hot.
direct sow it then. Yeah, I'll
Yes,
maybe do that. Oh,
yes,
end
it
of
likes
May.
the heat.
If we're settled, I might do that
Yeah,
end of May,
yeah.
directly. And I'm gonna try edamame as well,
Oh,
maybe, and
nice. I've
see.
never
I
grown
bought
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause, soya beans really, really high in protein, all that sort of
yeah.
business.
And you get
Yeah.
away, at least at this point, without GMO seeds, although you guys don't sell GMOs over there, do you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Um,
I don't think it's allowed.
mm, yeah.
Maybe a better food system than we have, because that's the big thing
Mm,
over here, that soy is, GMO seeds and
mm.
everything. But
I
I know
think they
when you
grow a
grow
lot of
your own.
GMO for cattle feed, I believe.
Yes.
Um,
I think 'cause it's
yeah,
cheap and easy to grow,
yeah,
uh, and big producers can get it
mm,
out pretty quick. But
yeah.
yeah, I no, thank you for reminding me. I wanted to grow some of that this year.
I
So,
don't expect a decent crop. It's like when you do your broad beans and they take up a bed and then you get 2 kilo and you think, "Well, that'll probably
yeah, that
4 quid
wasn't
at the
yeah,
supermarket." And you have to sit podding them and get it all under your nails and it hurts.
yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah, I've only put, I think, 20 broad bean plants in, but I did that last year and I think I only got a kilo. I just like to do them. And I like them woolly, like people are like, "Oh, no, I want them fresh and double pod them." And I don't care if they're cardboardy and woolly and all that sort of thing. I just
oh, so
like 'em.
you eat them in the pods.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. I've got
okay.
dead taste buds. I just
'Cause
like
over
them as
here
they are.
over here, the big thing is double potting them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
A
get
bit of a
down to
task.
the little teeny
Mm,
thing on the inside, and I always
yeah,
thought, "That is way too much work."
yeah. I'd
Like,
pay
you
for
gotta
that in a
pot 'em.
restaurant. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you
if
gotta
you had a little
blanch them and
little
take them out of
bit
the
of
other pod.
cheese and
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, that just
no.
always seemed like way too much work.
It's nice. It's nice when you've done it, but, um, again, if I'm not making wine and I'm not doing whatever other things were I said I needed to do, I'm not double podding broad beans either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got to be realistic really, because I mean, you do get caught on with all these fashions and you want to do all this stuff that everyone's doing, but if you did it all, well,
Yeah,
you wouldn't sleep
uh,
or
you
work
wouldn't
or
have room
anything.
for any of your life, would you?
Yeah, that's it,
Yeah.
and I've got other stuff to do this year as well, because allotment's pretty much well, it's kinda takes care of itself a little bit, or it can do. I mean, it doesn't look as good as what I'd like it to do and all that sort of stuff, but I've got to, balance it, I suppose, and turn a blind eye to bits that are not quite done, as long as it's producing some good food, which were number one thing that I wanted it for. All social stuff's come as a nicety off the back of it, but I just wanted it for the food initially,
Yeah.
and as long as it's doing that, and then I can get out and balance my life a little bit more, then I'm alright with that. Get a bit social, get out on the bike and all that, get down to gym
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff, and yeah, I want everything. I want to be the woman that's got it all.
You wanna
How
be
dare I?
Mary Poppins. Is that Mary Pop or is that the Sound of Music lady? I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't I
know.
don't know. Mary Poppins has got everything in a bag, hasn't she?
That was that
So,
bag. I would like one of those bags.
me too.
It
You
had,
could
like,
just pull
everything,
your plants
didn't it?
out of that, couldn't you, from garden centre and yeah.
Now, you did say you might be growing more flowers this year. Any
Yeah.
new flowers that you're thinking that you haven't grown before?
Yeah, let me check my pile that's here. Ooh, wherever. Yeah, last year I did regular amaranth, Love Lies Bleeding, the
Mhm.
red one. It were gorgeous, but again, I put it next to the squash, and it got slightly pulled over,
Sure.
like that by the squash. But it were lovely, really nice. So I've got the hot biscuits one because I saw
Beautiful.
Katrina
Yeah.
Homegrown Garden did that for a wedding, and it were a lovely rusty
Yeah.
gingery colour. So I've got that one. Erigeron. I've always wanted some Erigeron because you can shove it in all the cracks, can't you? And have it just filling gaps. I've got two types of bergamot, Monarda, bee balm,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it. I've got I think it's the spotted one, and the lemon one.
Okay.
Now then, that might have been because someone's got a lovely tea garden that inspired me. I don't know whether that's the one you use for. Oh no, because
It
that's the citrus, isn't it? The
that is a
bergamot.
citrus that,
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
know if
I
it's used
can't
for
remember. I'll have
tea,
to re-Google
but I
that and
know it's
see.
used for an essential oil. You can get bergamot oil.
Mm, yeah,
So,
I've got
I mean,
some
it's
that is
beautiful.
nice.
I love the scent of
Yeah,
bergamot. It's just absolutely beautiful.
I've got my apricot lemonade cosmos. I've got some purity cosmos, which I'm hoping will pop up self-seeded because I mean it were a big plant as they are. If you give them, you want to put this one cosmos in like that, and then it goes like a atom bomb, doesn't it? After about 2 months. So yeah, I might just have to transplant some of that. And then I've
Right.
got my turquoise lagoon sweet peas. They're an embarrassment as well. I've had two pop up, haven't I? Out of two pots. So yeah, I think it's just turquoise lagoon's a nightmare. And I've got what are those again? Cabaya scandens, cup and saucer plants. I've got about 9 of those, which is a bit excessive. But yeah,
Cup
but they
and
seem to
saucer.
be
I don't know if I
yeah,
know that one.
a climber. The
Oh,
flowers are big on those when they come
okay.
through like a lovely bell. They look like something off Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, Cabaya
Okay.
scandens. Yeah,
Okay.
cathedral bells, cup and saucer plant that. But I've got quite a few of those. Looking a bit. It's been potted on, but it's looking a bit like it's wanting something, doesn't it? But yeah, they tend to sit like that ages, and then they seem to explode when it gets warm as well.
Okay.
So yeah, if I don't manage my sweet peas too much, I've got a climber there that I can put in. And I've got Phacelia that self sows and just grows itself that's already up there. I can just move if I need to. Uh,
Okay.
and there's what have I got? Can't remember the name of it. A purpley thing. I've got a purpley thing as well. Uh,
That
yeah.
narrows it down. That totally narrows
Bit
it
bored.
down. Well, I think
Yeah.
a lot of people are leaning into flowers more this year. It really just seems like or at least adding more flowers to what they're already growing. But I know I'm leaning in a little heavier this year too. They're so
Mm.
pretty. Why not?
What have you got that's new?
Oh my goodness.
Have you got your snapdragons?
Those all did not make it. I have some.
Oh.
I winter sowed them about 2 weeks ago, opened up the jug, and they were already they were already starting to work. So, I have that little group, and then I'm gonna Robin is like, the queen of growing snapdragons. So, I'm going
Mhm.
to start some in a bed just because you just, rough up the soil a little bit, sprinkle them on, just gonna let
Mm.
them go, and then if they come up, we're just gonna move them.
Yeah.
So, I'm taking her advice, I'm trying that. So, you always wanna do stuff from or learn from people who know what they're doing, right? So,
Yeah.
it has worked for
Mm.
her, I'm gonna try it and see if we can get some.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm determined to get snapdragons up. I'm trying to think what else is n oh gosh, there's so many new like, I'm growing lupine this year. Never grew that. I'm trying that. They're up. I'm growing marigolds, which I haven't grown in like 100 years,
Mm.
and I found a really pretty it's like a rosy pink marigold, which I've never seen, so I'm growing those. lots of zinnias, but I grow those always. I'm getting a rose this year. I
Mhm.
picked out a lovely rose bush. I haven't had a rose in this garden at all, and that's what started me gardening was rose bushes. So, adding that. Uh, yeah. So I and for I think for vegetables and things, I'm not sure there's anything growing this year that I haven't grown before. So, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to condense. My theory this year is I wanna know what I'm doing with it before I'm growing it,
Yeah,
so
same
that
with me.
I don't
Mm,
hit that decision fatigue when we have 50 pounds of tomatoes sitting on the kitchen table and I have to go, "What am I gonna do with it?" I wanna have a plan and just execute it and get it done. Um,
mhm.
one of the most amazing things I discovered this year was last year I had so many tomatoes, I just started chucking them in the freezer, because I just didn't have time, to deal with them. Well, when those thaw, there's like this just it looks like just liquid in the bottom of the bag, and I'd seen people can that before, and I thought, "Okay, this is ridiculous. Like, we're canning tomato water?" Then I tasted the tomato water. Oh my word, it was like clear tomato juice. The flavor was so I'm canning some just to make rice with because I
Oh,
thought, "Why
right,
wouldn't I
okay.
just use it as fluid for rice?" And you're already halfway
Mm,
to Spanish rice, right? So,
brilliant.
yeah. So that was probably the one of the greatest surprises I got from that. So I'm
Mm,
thinking, "Well, I should probably freeze my tomatoes more because that was a wonderful product that just showed up."
mm, yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
no,
last year when I did my, sun-dried tomatoes and I'd, skinned them, I dehydrated the skins as well and ground it and made a powder, and then that
yes.
got chucked in something, I can't remember what I put it in. I don't think there was much flavour left in it 'cause I thought if there is, it'd be nice patted on some fish maybe, something like that, but
Yeah.
it got used in something and they didn't get thrown away.
Well, I've seen people use that like a powdered tomato paste. So rather than
Alright,
having how the I don't know if they sell
yeah,
that like they do here, in these little teeny jars, they're like or cans, they're like 6 ounces, and you
yeah,
always just need a tablespoon or 2 of tomato paste. So
mm,
these people would just mix it up with a little water, the tomato powder, and throw it in
yeah,
as tomato paste, and I thought,
mm, yeah.
"Awesome," because then it's a
Do you
dry
ev
product, you don't have to,
Yeah,
figure out what you're
and
gonna
it's a
do with the extra.
recycled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you ever keep your if you wash some potatoes, I mean, the cut potatoes, do you ever keep the starch?
I don't.
'Cause it all collects, doesn't it, in the bottom?
Yeah.
They're, like, really
Well,
thick.
and that's kinda why you
Take the
rinse them.
water off.
You want it
Yeah,
off a little bit. And
yeah,
so
if you
what do
take
you
the
do with
water off
that?
and dry it out, we can use it for thickening things a little bit like a corn flour.
Okay.
It's a bit, extreme, it's a bit tight of a job that really, but you can collect it really easily and then use it for something.
Oh,
Yeah, instead
interesting.
of throwing it away. But you could chuck it in the garden and water it back onto your plants as well.
And I know, are there any ones that would prefer that, do you think?
Probably potatoes.
Oh,
I don't know, but I
yeah.
mean, anything like your rice water, if you've got some leftover rice water, anything you cooked veg in, it's got nutrients in that's come out, so you can
Sure.
water that on the garden when it's cold. It's whether you can be bothered. It's a bit of a faff going out with a one little pan for half a pint, and chuck it on
Well,
something.
it's helpful that my garden is right outside my kitchen door, so it wouldn't
Mhm.
be as bad to do that because I don't have to go to an allotment or something to drop off the water, right? I just
Mhm.
go outside. Um,
Mhm.
Down to Earth is saying, "Hey, all sorry I'm late. I've been planting potatoes and onions." Well,
Brilliant.
we forgive you for that because we've been talking about, a lot of those things. So, glad you got them in. This is about I'm hoping to get mine in within the next week because 'cause they're here. They're here a little early this
Mhm.
year, so I'm gonna try to
I need
take
to do
advantage.
mine. I've got to speed weed the half a plot that my plot neighbours actually have. They've said I can use it again this year, so I said, should we just put spuds on it? Because I mean, I might not be eating them, but they're over there. They can have them, and it's using the soil. So I've taken one lot up, and they're in the shed. And I was going to put them out, but I didn't get time. So that's a job that's coming very
Yeah.
highly to the top of my list. Is get
Now,
those spuds in.
how many pounds of potatoes do you plant?
How many do I plant?
Yeah, how many do you go by pounds or kilos?
Well, no, I think I've got I think 3. No, I've probably got 4, let's face it, because I got to do Charlotte Santa. But I bought 2 different types, and I think I only bought 8 seed potatoes because I thought I can get 8 in my little row. I thought
Okay.
1 and 1, that'll do. And then these Charlottes that are growing in that bucket, if I have a look and make sure I've got, because I'd like to do some Charlottes as well, they're lovely. So I think I've got 3 types. But last year, I don't even know how many kilos came out of the ground. It was just silly. Oh,
Yeah.
and Casablanca, the first earlies. They're great, and they're so satisfying when you pull them up, and they're so white, like little eggs. They're lovely. Are those? And I've got Setanta main crop that I've not grown before, so I'm going to give those a go.
Nice.
Mm,
Nice. Well, my goodness, it's been an hour. That
yeah.
was You're just so easy to talk with, Claire. Thank you, and I love everything that comes out of this chat. You guys are you're wonderful, and thank you so much for being here. I realize you have to be here at this exact time to be in the chat, and I thank Claire so much. So good to see you, and
Thank
we'll have to
you.
try to get
Yeah.
you on again very soon because you're
Yeah.
just lovely. And Locke, thank you for all your knowledge that you
Yeah.
easily share. And actually, for everyone, I want to say everybody in this group, you're all gardeners, and it's really obvious, and you know what you're talking about. So I love just so you know, I read through all of this afterwards because sometimes there's little morsels of just like, well, that's brilliant that I have maybe not seen because the thing moves so quickly. So all of your knowledge is not lost on me. And tomorrow, this will post right now, but tomorrow the chat will be available to see. So if you like to do that, you can also go through and read all of the great comments. So I wish you all a happy afternoon, happy evening, happy morning, wherever you're coming from. And let's make this week a good garden week. Enjoy, don't stress out about it. Gardening's supposed to be fun. And Claire, again, we'll see you all very soon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, have a great one.